days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley, you know, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything, deleted and destroyed all of it, because of lots of things. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down. They don't want to talk about that.
Now, if the media is not going to give equal time to this nonsense, y'all can miss me. But let's burn the whole house down. Let's go. Roderick Morrow is here. Did you watch the press conference that started off with a gaffe? That people will not let go.
I did not watch the press conference. I don't need to. I know I'm voting for Joe or whoever's at the top of the ticket. I really have to tune out the noise for my own mental health at this point, because
yes,
I think people are doing way too much right now.
I have never, I was a journalist for 16 years at the New York Daily News. Actually, 3 years before that at the Star Ledger and Newark Star Ledger. Taught journalism for 24 years. I've never seen this willful, concerted drumbeat from every circle of media, every outlet in lockstep. And I'm stunned by it and I'm concerned by it, because that means if you can, because let's just be clear, if you read Ed Bernays' propaganda, media is the most powerful tool you have to shape people's minds. FDR used it through the radio. Powerful radio, I think, is the most powerful. But because we're in a social media scroll, quick bites, this is the most dangerous this is the most danger we've ever been in as a society, because this drumbeat now becomes like, it's unyielding. And when I saw Abby Phillip tweet, I was like, what is happening? Oh my God, this is from up high. This is not just individuals making a decision, because we all watch the same thing. Now, he started off referring to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. People could not let that go. That was in the first few minutes. That's the opening thing, which I guess in many ways is like, oh my God. But I'm gonna go back to a piece from the Atlantic, which is it's an outlet that I like, primarily because Ta-Nehisi Coates' the case for reparations sits in the Atlantic. Jamel Hill has some nice pieces in there. The Atlantic, 2014, September 18, 2014. This is Biden is vice president of the United States at this point, right? 2014. The title, Why Joe Biden's Gaffes Don't Matter. Though the vice president has a long history of blunders, they've rarely impacted his career until he turned 81. This man has been misspeaking since probably came out the womb. He probably wasn't mama, was blah, blah. So it was probably something, So it starts, Joe Biden's misspeaking or going too far isn't news. The vice president's gaffe history is legendary. And I'm thinking maybe people don't remember this. I remember it. I remember he had to drop out of a presidential run because he called somebody a macaca or something. Mistakes are expected, but 3 slips in the space of a mere 24 hours, that's a Biden record. This is from 2014. In a Tuesday speech, the vice president referred to people who sold bad loans to service members as Shylocks. A Jewish slur derived from Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice. Again, he's old. He probably calls people Orientals. Oh, yes. The next day, just hours after apologizing for the anti-Semitic remark, he did it again, calling Asia the Orient. When he was alive, it was the Orient. Right. All right. And that afternoon, he capped off his Iowa trip, a testing ground for a possible 2016 run, with a flourish, straying from the administration's set line that there wouldn't be any boots on the ground to combat ISIS in Iraq. He told a reporter, "We'll determine that based on how the effort goes." Completely off script. But does any of this really matter? Sure. The Anti-Defamation League called the Shylock misstep offensive and said Biden should have been more careful, and the White House will certainly walk back on Biden's off-message troops remark. But Biden has a long history of saying the wrong thing and hasn't suffered serious career-killing backlash for any of it. Until now. Fast forward. This is from 2014. 10 years later, he's just old. But he's not old. He's the same. He is old. Let me not lie. Right, he's oldest. He's old in terms of old. But if you're 100, he's not old. I always tell my students, old is relative, right? 100-year-old Joe Biden's a whippersnapper. You know. Right. So yes, no, he's 81. He's 81. He's slowed. His motor skills are not what they used to be. But I did not see somebody with dementia last night. I saw somebody that is prone to gaffes, who stutters, who may be slower and is trying to be more careful because, oh my God, is he having his ass handed to him? But it feels so abusive as I'm watching it, Roderick. It felt abusive. Like, what is going on? Y'all want him to step down so badly, and he's being defiant. Right. I like that too, because he's cognizant of what is happening.
I think it's interesting too, because my favorite gaffe is the one where you told the person to stand up and they was in a wheelchair. Yeah, y'all know, you remember that one?
That's not recent. That's
no. I mean, that's the old one. Yeah.
This old.
You were pointing out that he'd been doing this for a long time. I'm saying the same thing. I remember that one a long time ago, and it was like, it was funny. They was on the Daily Show. Now, literally, anytime he makes a gaffe, it is like on the Daily Show, but Jon Stewart's angry. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh man, it's like, oh my God, he's something's wrong with him. I think the other part is there's a lot of confirmation bias happening. So whatever you believe, you can find something to support it. So the people that want to think that it literally got dementia and Parkinson's, and he's walking around on his deathbed, and the White House is covering it up, and the media is not being allowed access. They're finding like QAnon level conspiracies in everything too. And this is why I said I haven't participated in it, because I think that's a bit ridiculous. I think the debate he had, he looked bad. I don't have any like excuse for that. I just think it looked bad.
No, it's horrible.
But I'm willing to accept and believe. This is not a joke for me. I think he had an off night. I really think it was that simple. I haven't seen this evidence of this is who he is all the time. He looked really bad that night. He has looked better since. It's not hard to look better than that, but he's done it. And everyone's acting like it's like this crisis or whatever. And I think a lot of people are playing fantasy football, but with politics, where they want to sub out Joe Biden for insert whoever they think it is. And that's an important note right there, because y'all don't all think it's the same person. And that's a problem, because if it ain't all the same person, then we can't have a discussion, because the reason Joe Biden's here is because he's the same person. It's the one person we all go. And that's the other thing for him, the positive for his case. He's the one person that can do this. And every single person I've heard that said they don't want him to run is still like, I mean, ultimately, I would vote for him if he's on the ticket. That's the difference between him and everybody else that y'all think you like better, that just is a little too gay, or a little too black, or a little too woman, or a little too cursing, or a little too short, whatever it is. Those people y'all won't stick with. Y'all will find a way to talk yourself out of voting for them. But when it comes to him, you'll grit and bear it. I always supported Joe Biden's presidency after my parents told me to. I always supported him.
Shout out to the morals.
Because they real. Yeah. They real. They realer than the internet. They not looking at the headline scrolling all day. They just tell me what they see in their life. But I always supported him after that, because it was like, I truly do believe in his old white manness. Old white men in America, they could get away with something that a lot of us can't. And he just riding that. And I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong or illegal. Just, he don't have to be excellent. Everybody else in America The default setting to be president is you better be the best of whatever the hell you are, unless you're a white dude. Then you can just be Uncle Joe or whatever, and people will let it slide. So I think you can ride that right on into it. And shout out to the Supreme Court and Donald Trump for constantly reminding us of what's at stake, so that if you do think we have a luxury of sitting this out or picking some other candidate, just understand when it comes down to voting day, it's us or them. And that's all. Period. That's all it is to it.
You better say that. And for everybody also saying Joe has dementia, Joe Biden has dementia, he should step down. Are you calling for, who's been running the country? So let me just, the country's been run. We've had a country. He's been this guy. They said, if you say he's been this guy for all of this time, he's been running the country. And if he hasn't been running the country, whoever's been running the country, not bad. Right. So I'm going to ask this question too. Is this racial? Is this really less about Joe Biden? And Larry has said this, Larry Daniel Favors, less about him being old than about Kamala Harris being black.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, you give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.